Welcome to our weekly webinar. This is for the Escalite Mobile Learning SIG and for the SOTL NZ network. And today we're going to be talking to a couple of our paramedic lecturers and what they've been up to with mobile virtual reality. As you can see, they won an award for teaching excellence last year. We're going to go and find them in their natural habitat, so let's go and see if we can track them down.
Now.
Here we are. We're live. We have Stuart. Hello. And we have Stephen.
Hello. Hello.
So two of our paramedic lecturers, and just over here we have Duncan.
Hello.
So Stuart and Steve, tell us what you've been up to.
We've been working very hard. We're currently working on a biometric feedback for paramedic simulation. So we're looking to see whether stresses within simulation, how we can quantify it really, by way of some qualitative and quantitative data. And we're going to use this with the SeekBeak platform and virtual reality 360.
And what's the purpose?
What's the purpose, Cookie?
So I guess the purpose is to see if we can make our simulations a little bit more realistic. It's really important in paramedicine when our students / our paramedics are out on a job, they feed from what's at the scene. So if we can give them a scene that's as realistic as possible, it makes it easier for them to do the scenario. However, that's very hard for us to replicate in a scenario sort of situation, and it can be very expensive. So if we can do it with 360 cameras, get our students to develop 360 kind of film for us, we can use that to basically enhance their learning.
Okay, and Steve, do you have any tips for people watching this on how to go about developing virtual reality environments?
Absolutely. First thing you should do is get yourself a Tom Cochrane. That's always quite helpful. I think the development side of it is just about having a play, and that's often difficult for us within our roles to find downtime. But at the same time, if you can find that downtime, you'll often find that you get, depending on the software, you get the ball rolling quite quickly. And the SeekBeak platform that we're using is pretty intuitive and straightforward, and I think that probably that simple side of it fits Stu very well.
Yeah, and we're kind of currently reflecting on that in the paper we're writing at this very moment, in fact, for a special issue of Research and Learning Technology.
Yep.
And I guess associated with that is a couple of societies. There's the Escalite and there's ALT, both looking at using technology in teaching and learning. And I know you two have been to the Escalite conference, and we're hoping to get there again this year. So what was your experience of getting to Escalite and sharing some of your experiences with technology and teaching and learning?
I think more than anything, one of the things I noticed is what we were doing was just slightly different. I guess as a prototype product, which is what we had at the time. Again, using SeekBeak in a simulated environment as a teaching tool was something which we got fantastic feedback on, because I think we were sort of trying to break down some barriers as to how we can teach and learn in different ways. And I think that was one of the main things I took away from Escalite. How about you?
I think probably the most important thing that I took away is the fact that some of it's just actually about trying stuff, and some actually not trying to get too technical, too sort of big. It's keeping it simple, and actually just sort of almost throwing the idea out there and seeing where it can go. I think at times you can get bogged down with trying to make the idea perfect the first time. We've had some I think we've had a lot of success, but we've also had some pretty good failures that haven't quite worked out the way we envisioned, but because of those failures we've been able to develop slightly a different curve or so forth. and sometimes it's actually the simple ideas that actually work and work well.
Great. And I know you're both working on your CMORT portfolios. So how's that process coming along?
Yeah, look, it is moving. I think it's unfortunately, you know, the semester workload often slows things down. But it is something which has value, and it is something which fits in nicely with what we're trying to achieve with regards to sort of that teaching technology and introduction of pedagogy.
Hey, got that word in.
And I think, you know, whilst it probably hasn't been as quick as some might like, you know, you've got to just keep going forward and moving forward, and before you know it, I'm sure we'll be finished.
So have you found it a valuable exercise so far?
Yeah, look, I think the greatest part for me has been the reflection, just to be able to stand back from the chaos of trying things and the activities of getting students in and studies and research, but actually just walk away and try and put the small pieces together to see what makes sense in a reflective way.
Cool. Well, we'll probably keep this one nice and short. Is there anything else that you guys would like to share with our fantastic audience today?
Yeah, just I think you said before.
What did I say before? Keep on trucking, or?
Yeah, keep on trucking.
Look, I think some of it is a lot of this as well is actually just, I guess, being brave enough for us, particularly. We've been lucky enough here at AUT to be able to feed into C-flat and being able to, because, you know, we're paramedics, we work on the road in an ambulance, but to being able to have the resources that we do at C-flat, to be able to go in and say, hey, this is the idea, is there another way we can do this, or is there a thing, and having another set of someone who's outside of our paramedicine kind of world, who looks at things in a slightly different way, and it makes it easier for us when we can go, you know, hey, this is the idea, but I don't think it'll work, and then someone says, well, hang on a second, why don't we try it this way? And you're like, well, I didn't even think of that. So I think having that and talking outside, I guess, your specialties and your communities, really, make it easier. I know we've had conversations here where people said, oh, that can't work, and then suddenly you go and talk to C-flat, and they're like, well, how about this way? And so I think that's helpful as well.
And I think that's where the SOTEL cluster groups come in handy, because you can kind of put your message out there and your you know, the rough direction of what you want to, of where you're going and what you want to achieve, and there are people who are happy to jump on that train and give you a hand and get involved, and it makes it just more of an enjoyable and fulfilling process.
Well, and on that note, I think we'll bring this webinar to a close. So thank you, team.
Hey, no worries.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.